Well, good morning, my silky friends. Um, Let me know how this audio is coming across. Is it really bad? I need you to type it in the comments real quick because I don't know what's wrong, but I'm having a complete breakdown on audio. Yes, hi Watha. It is a long intro, and I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking I'm going to probably do another one that's a little shorter. Okay. Hey, Sleuthy. Let me say good morning to y'all. Early birds. Early birds. I know more will be coming in the chat, but I have the coolest case to talk to y'all. It's not cool as in it's a fun story. It is devastating, ridiculous as Delphi, okay? And this one is unsolved. So let me start with hello, Hiawatha. Good to see ya. Just me. Good to see you. And Sleuthy, good to see you. Always good to see you, Sleuthy. Let me keep going. Hello, woman. It was a little rough coming in. What, the audio? I can step back. I don't know if my mic is going out. Is it loud enough? I don't know. I filmed, oh, by the way, say hello to Scully. He is going to be joining me this morning because, y'all, I don't know what to say about this morning. You know, I timed it. I thought I've got plenty of time. And, you know, I went to do a little, you know, as you get older, it takes longer. I had to do a little sanding and spackling and everything on the face and that kind of stuff. And I came back in here and it was 10:14, and I realized my sound was off and I wasn't going to have time to fix it. And I also realized when I went live, here's Scully, because I didn't tell him to go away, that it wasn't a spooky Southern Tea episode. So, yeah, he's going to be hanging out with us. Oh, it's actually a little too loud. Okay. Let me see. Let me adjust this. All right. Are we good? Are we good? Yeah, we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Y'all, just before we get started, let me see. Well, you know what? I didn't pull it up because I'm all backwards this morning. Let me show you this. I know it's in my email because I sent it to myself. I just wanted to put out there is a missing person in... What are all these messages? Well, there is a missing 13-year-old girl in Gallatin, Tennessee. She is pregnant, and her family is, of course, very worried. She ran away from a foster home. I was going to pull that up. There's really not much about it, like in news, as far as yet, just as far as she's missing. So if you are around the Gallatin, Tennessee area, anywhere in the South, basically, and I'm sorry, I don't have that information, but I thought that was very interesting. Okay. Wait. I've gotta figure this out. Woman doing walla holla. I like that. Okay, let me know how my sound is. Did y'all hear the news about Jay-Z? Yeah. Sorry, the hair is a little crazy. Look, this is me. You're going to have to watch me fluff because I do all this prior. But Jay-Z, new allegations. And I'm not going to really cover that this morning, but new allegations from about Jay-Z, 13-year-old girl. Can y'all imagine that? Saying, and Yeah, I think so too, woman. Jay-Z is a bad dude. According to, if you have listened to anything from Jaguar Wright, or I think it's Allison Carter, you will have heard that there are many allegations that he was involved in all of the P. Diddy scandal. But now this is allegations against him. Apparently, there were. Okay, I have a lot of questions here, first of all. And I can't, there is no news report that I can play for you that is not going to say a bunch of words that I cannot use on YouTube. All right, so, but apparently, he was, there was another 13-year-old girl who they said went to an after party or something after an award show. This is how it all started. And I don't understand. Okay. What I don't understand is how you've got a 13-year-old child and you are not with them. You are not there every second watching every single thing that they are doing. I know, first of all, I would say no to that, to my 13-year-old. But secondly, I would also say, if she's going, I'm going, and I'm not leaving her side. So I don't know what the story is about that. Yes, thank you. The VMA Awards party. Yeah, in 2000. Yes, thank you. I knew it was something. My ears are ringing now, y'all. I don't know. Maybe I'm just falling apart. Just Me says, what do you think about the Daystar scandal? Oh, yeah. I may do a video on that. Look, nothing surprises me anymore. I've got to get this right. Somewhere. Anyway, I'm at this point not surprised at anything. I am no longer surprised by any big ministries having all this stuff in the background. I think it's a lot about money. I mean, I know it takes money. It takes money for TV time. It takes money for just to do YouTube. It takes money. You have to invest in this and that. And, but I will say this. I think at a certain point, people are just, they're selling out. It becomes more about the show. It becomes more about the income, the money, the lifestyle. And it's nothing about Jesus, okay? It's nothing about religion in any way, shape, or form. It's just it's an income. And I think when you have money as your God, and the Bible even talks about that. You have money as your God. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to follow the money. Follow the money. That's what I say in all the crimes that I cover. Follow the money. You're gonna find the answers if you follow the money trail. Okay, woman says I need to send you something quick. Okay. Let me pull up my email. Do you have my email? Go ahead. It's Silky and Southern, if you didn't know that. Okay. I'm interested in what you're going to send me. So, yeah. Hi, Watha. What is with these 13-year-olds doing adult activities? That is the fault of the parents. That is the fault of the parents, no doubt. But yeah. Let me see. Let me refresh. I just want to know what you're going to send me. Okay. Let's start with the story of Jessica Johnson. And this is in Horn Lake, Mississippi. There are so many crime cases out there that need attention. when you start looking, there's so many, and I've got about 3 cases on a back burner, and maybe 4. Somebody told me to look into something else. Oh my gosh, sorry. I have somehow, I don't know, I've messed this up. I've got my phone attached to my computer now, and I get notifications, and I thought I turned them off. I don't want notifications on here. Oh, come on, quit liking my pictures on Facebook, please. So it distracts me. Y'all know how distracted I get. But yeah, this particular story was so horrific and weird and heartbreaking that I thought I'm going to bring this one to the forefront. Because like I said, I've got cases all over the place that need attention, but this one definitely does. Unfortunately, I don't know how they will be able to solve it. Someone would have to come forward. Hello, Sachi. Say hi. Oh, she said hi. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. You sent me something about Jay-Z. All right. I'll look into that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I don't know if chat is frozen. What's going on? But let me take you to this story. Jessica Johnson was, I think, 37, 39, something like that. Beautiful, beautiful woman in Horn Lake, Mississippi. Now, she had 2 children. I believe it was 2. She has a very, she has a very kind of off and on sordid past, which, let me just say, should not affect, or we should not be judgmental about her lifestyle and the way that she was, because nobody, I don't care what you're doing, nobody deserves to be unalived, okay? So let's make sure, but we do have to look into it because of the likelihood that something that she was doing made someone mad. Good morning, Mythical. How are you? Cool. Thank you. Thank you, woman. I will look at that. So I'm gonna play this. There are several things, okay? This story really intrigued me, and because it is on another platform, I'm going to have to add some music to the background. Tell me if it's too loud, and I probably will have to stop. Y'all know how this goes, so you don't get a strike. But this comes from another station, another channel, and but this is, y'all, a horrific story. Let me go back to this. I'm gonna turn this music down as much as I can, but what it does when you have music in the background, I can't even hear it. Sorry. Is that too loud, y'all? Oh, you sent the lawsuit. Thank you. Yes, this is Jessica I said that right? Jessica Johnson. All right, let's listen to this.
A single mom found dead hanging from a mailbox by a pair of shoelaces. Investigators say that she took her own life. Her family says it's just not possible. Was it all staged?
This is not a suicide by hanging.
Then they came on True Crime News fighting for justice against a disgraced doctor.
Okay, we're not going to watch the disgraced doctor, but that'll give you a little. Tell me in the comments. Sorry, I am so not used to doing this. Okay, so the music is okay. All right, let's go on.
Ruled it a suicide, but the single mom's body was discovered in such a bizarre position that her family is convinced that she was murdered and that the crime scene was staged. And they are determined to figure out what really happened to her.
The average person sees around 10,000 online ads
Lord,
daily.
don't y'all hate
Here's how a
commercials.
man's
Come on,
life would
come on,
change
come on,
if he
stop
used
it.
By all accounts, 37-year-old Jessica Johnson was beautiful inside and out.
She was always dressed up and really pretty, and she knew it.
She's fancy, glammed up diva.
She was the life of any gathering, whether it was just you and her or a room of 100.
Jessica was energetic, outgoing, loved people, not judgmental at all. She was just fun to be around.
Jessica Johnson was all those things. Then she was found on a rural road near her parents' house in Horn Lake, Mississippi, in this odd position. The disturbing images show the mother of two on her knees with her legs buckled under, shoestrings fashioned into a noose around her neck, her purse open on the ground and placed between her legs.
The male lady found.
Now, first of all, let me say this. I mean, can you imagine? There is absolutely nobody who is going to unalive themselves on a mailbox, even if you were going to. Maybe, I don't know what kind of state you would be in to think about doing that. But her purse is between her legs, okay? That doesn't make any sense. That to me says you're going somewhere. If you are going somewhere, you're not going to do that on a mailbox. All right, that's just my opinion.
Found her. She freaked out and she called to get help. And anyway, another mailman come there and he took pictures. That's the pictures that we got.
The county coroner ruled Jessica's death a suicide, but even before seeing the horrifying candid images, her friends and family said, no way, not suicide, not Jessica, let alone by hanging herself.
Told me that my daughter had committed suicide. And I'm like, it's not possible.
My sister was so vain. I mean, there's no way she's going to have herself displayed out for the world to see her like that. She had no makeup on, or I mean, that's not her.
Okay, this is a very good point. And I know, ladies, look, I mean, I guess I've got some vanity too, although sometimes I come on here looking like a dish mop. But I completely get this and I understand, because here's the thing. You would not, if you're a lady who takes care of yourself, you put on makeup every day, you don't go out unless you are looking good. And apparently she went out looking very good. That is definitely something that you would consider, because you know that's the last photos that are going to be of you, the crime scene, or even if it is a self-induced crime scene. And you think about things like this. I think about things like this, even though I don't always do myself up, but I always think, about things like this. So I have a big problem with this from the very get-go, especially someone, and even like Micah Miller, okay, in that case, that is the one thing that makes me say she did not unalive herself, because of where she was in the water, in that nasty muck. Women don't do that, and you think about what you're going to look like afterwards. Not saying that a woman never unalives herself that way, but it is more of a man unaliving. Women, what do we do? We take pills. That is traditionally what women do. Maybe carbon monoxide in the car, but we think about things like this, and you know that your family and friends, your last photos. So to me, this was completely no. Absolutely not. Yeah. Talk about a staged crime scene. 100%. And your purse right there. All right, now this happened, I think this was in 2017. Sleepy says, I would get it too. I wouldn't let myself be found without makeup done. Yeah, exactly. And you are definitely, I mean, look, it's just the way some of us are. All right, so let's go on.
Her drug of choice was Xanax. She would have went to sleep. And believe me, Jessica would have had herself fixed up. She would have looked like Sleeping Beauty.
She loved her babies. She loved her babies. She would not. They're all she had. And they're all that they had.
In the very beginning, it was suicide. And they wasn't going to change her mind from suicide.
The way that they put her out there, only people that are not in their right mind would do something like that and say this is going to look normal.
Something's off about the situation, agree not one but two separate experts the family hired to investigate the case.
She's alive, supposedly, when she sits down there. So she has to put up with that pressure on her jaw from the edge of that 4x4 post until she dies. Never happened.
The hangers.
So that's another thing. Absolutely not. To unalive yourself in that manner by hanging, like, if you don't, here's the thing, we know from historically, if you don't snap the neck, and that's when public hangings used to be a thing, you know that's why they had to drop. Because if you do not have that breaking of the neck, then it is a slow suffocation. So how are you gonna tie yourself to a mailbox? Please tell me. How are you gonna tie yourself to a mailbox and be uncomfortable? Yes, all that pressure against your jaw, that would hurt. You would be forced to move, the pain alone. And then to unalive yourself for as many minutes as it takes to be in that uncomfortable position on your knees. Like, look, it is absolutely ludicrous to think that someone did this to themselves. Like, it's insanity.
So right here at this location, you would have to do amazing things. Someone that's coming and erratically trying to hang themselves in the cover of dark. And you look here, this is a rural area, so it's very dark. No street lights, anything. To me, and to anyone with some common sense, would know this is not a suicide by hanging. She was placed here.
If you did want to hang yourself, there's plenty of trees around. I looked at them. There's some low-lying limbs. Why are you going to choose the U.S. Postal Service mailbox?
But who would do this and why? David and Linda Johnson don't hide the fact that their daughter had battled drug addiction in the past and recently started using again.
If they would have told me that she had overdosed on Xanax, I think I might have believed that.
In fact, the pathology report shows at the time of her death, Jessica had significant dangerous drug combinations in her system, including meth, Xanax, and a drug to treat severe insomnia. And lately, they claim that she'd been spending time with a tough crowd.
I was disappointed in her, in the choices she was making and what she was doing.
That included the guy she was dating at the time of her death.
She was normally really picky on guys, so it was a surprise her last two boyfriends that she had.
Of course, that's always the first thing that we do, right? Is we look at the spouse, the boyfriend, stuff like that. And he's a little shady, I'll say. He's a little shady, but they said, and you'll hear in here, apparently she was crazy about this guy. Now, is he to blame? I mean, that's the obvious choice, right? I don't know. They're going to show him later, so tell me what y'all think.
Yeah, we're pretty mean and controlling and kind of narcissistic.
The crazy thing is, Jessica's never been attracted to men that was tattooed up. Neither one of my girls have ever had any tattoos, piercings, or anything like that.
If that was true, Jessica was going way against type with this on-again, off-again boyfriend, Garland Hart.
I seen the pictures of him, And she showed me the picture, and I'm like, how far down do these tattoos go? I think that there was times in their relationship where they enjoyed each other and have a little bit of fun, but the bad outweighed the good in their relationship.
There were times where I'd have to go pick her up, because they had gotten into an argument or an altercation. I really urged Jess to get away from him.
But Linda says anytime Jessica did get away, she'd end up going right back. And on that one fateful night in June, she and Garland ended up at his best friend's house in rural Mississippi, the house with the infamous mailbox.
It's accused me of that and when they see that it had nothing to do with me, as I've been cleared already.
After the grisly discovery, Garland...
Okay, they're going to show some more of him. To me, I don't know. I hate to say this, but to me, he looks like a typical inmate that I would have had when I worked at the jail. So, yeah. It is what it is.
Garland Hart voluntarily went in for questioning, and he has fully cooperated with the investigation ever since. Police have never named him or anyone else a suspect in Jessica's death.
I willingly went down there myself because that was my best friend. So I don't expect an apology because it would anger me. But yes, I do feel like something happened to her because I don't think she would do that to herself.
When we come back, Jessica's family hires their own team to prove she didn't take her own life.
How much indent do you see that string making compared to her jaw? Little. In my opinion, she didn't tie this.
That's next.
Show your daughter how much you love her with this beautiful
Now we're going to
gift.
watch the ads.
It says,
Okay.
We're back with the mysterious death of Jessica Johnson. The single mom was found dead, tied to a mailbox with shoelaces. Authorities say that she died by suicide, but really? Her family and friends say all signs point to something more sinister.
For David Johnson, the pain of losing his daughter is only compounded by the fact that she was a parent herself.
My granddaughter and my grandson, they don't have their mom.
I want to make sure that my grandchildren are aware that their mother did not take her own life.
The medical examiner listed the cause of death as asphyxiation by hanging, a suicide, but her parents don't believe it. Desperate for answers, they turned to forensic scientist Dr. Maurice Godwin.
It should be homicide, but at least at the minimum, it needs to be changed to undetermined.
He recently met with Jessica's mother.
Yeah, and what he says, and I can't see what y'all are saying right now, but what he says is, I don't understand. I don't understand why. First of all, I don't understand how they came up with this whole self-induced unaliving. And secondly, I don't understand how, when the medical examiner understand there are substances in her system, but this whole thing, and especially the way he breaks it down, yeah. First of all, that's what grabbed my attention to this case to start with, was like, on a mailbox. No, it didn't happen that way. But listen to some of this.
Mother Linda to explain why he doubts the suicide ruling. The strange scene is certainly hard to explain. Jessica's body found on the ground with bent knees, her neck tied to a waist-high mailbox fashioned like a noose, but only made up of 2 shoestrings.
Based on the way the string is around her Adam's apple here, she would have never passed out anyway, because I don't think there's enough pressure to cut off the air.
Okay, point 1, remember this. There was not enough pressure on the 2 shoelaces tied together right here on the Adam's apple. Do we have an Adam's apple? Do women have that? I know, well, right here on the throat. It would not have put enough pressure to actually do the job. So that is big red flag number 1.
Dr. Godwin says not only would the 3-foot-high mailbox not support Jessica's weight, but the positioning of her body against the mailbox also makes no sense.
The majority of the force of the pressure was on her cheekbone.
In that position, he says, Jessica would have been in excruciating pain.
She's alive, supposedly, when she sits down there. So she has to put up with that pressure on her jaw from the edge of that 4x4 post until she dies. Never happened.
Okay, so number one, there's not enough pressure on the neck to asphyxiate. All of the pressure is on the jaw, which, as uncomfortable and painful as that might be, is not going to cause you to die, right? So, from the get-go, it's like, what the heck? What the heck, police? What is going on here?
And even if the shoelace could have caused enough pressure to strangle her, he says it would have left a very noticeable mark. It didn't.
How much indent do you see that string making compared to her jaw? Little.
Something else Dr. Godwin finds suspicious.
In my opinion, she didn't tie this.
The knot used to tie the shoelaces together.
It is so precisely tied really close to the end. So to me, that would be difficult to tie this without a proper lighting too.
The Johnsons and Dr. Godwin theorize.
So just so far, do you see how ridiculous this case is? I mean, I was flabbergasted. I'm just gonna say I don't know. I don't know how you come to this conclusion. But yeah, tying the knot, and it makes me wonder what kind of knot was it. When he said it was so precise, it was near the end, did he mean it was a certain kind of knot that maybe you would pick up a skill in some kind of outdoor tactical survivor thing, or, you know, were you military and you learned how to tie certain knots? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was a regular knot, but I'm just wondering because of the way that he said that.
All these factors add up to one unbearable possibility, that Jessica was killed somewhere else and the mailbox scene was staged. In their grief and confusion and facing financial struggles, Jessica's parents made the heart-wrenching decision to have her cremated.
Jessica should have never been cremated.
Also suspicious, according to Dr. Godwin, while some of the evidence was returned to the family, like the shoes Jessica was wearing the night she died, which may contain a drop of blood spatter, other evidence was gone altogether, like those shoestrings that had been fashioned into a noose.
My suggestion was to take this shoelace and swab it for touch DNA.
That's evidence. How do you lose evidence?
Yeah, how do you lose evidence? Oh, well, if you're in Carroll County, Indiana, in Delphi, we know how you lose evidence. But see, this is the thing. You're supposed to keep that for a long time. Yeah, and I understand why cremation is a lot cheaper, especially if you don't have burial insurance, or look, it's expensive. It is so expensive to die. And so I understand why a lot of people do cremate, but in this case, they don't have the body. Now the evidence is missing, and that's not sus, right? No, of course not. Evidence just walks off all the time.
Like the clothes she was wearing the night she died.
We were calling the funeral home and the medical examiner. Nobody could find her clothes.
Her clothes were burned, destroyed.
Something basic that you learn in the academy, how to correctly preserve a crime scene.
Piling on, another expert hired by the family, former Memphis police officer Rome.
I have a question though. Why was it burned? Was that the police? Who burned her clothes? I don't I don't know if they really explain in here, and I'm just getting into looking at this, so I have no idea. But this is crazy. This is just crazy. Let me stop for just a second and look and see what y'all are saying. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Some of these are so good. I want to completely have time for that. Hold on. Well, all right. This is almost over, this part. Okay, so this is a Memphis police officer.
Moreno says potential witnesses were ignored.
Now, this neighbor right here was never questioned by the police.
But he believes the most egregious oversight by detectives involves security video from the home where Jessica's body was found.
It requires a passcode to get into it, and they didn't ask for a passcode.
I love Jessica. Anybody that knows me would know I could never do that to her.
Here's Jessica's on and off again boyfriend, Garland Hart, at court, where he was facing domestic violence charges filed by his current girlfriend, charges that were ultimately dropped. It was the first time he'd spoken.
Okay, it keeps piling up. We've got, okay, they destroyed evidence. They did not interview the neighbors. I mean, she's hung on the mailbox at the street, and there are clearly neighbors around. They were interviewed, and also the camera. They didn't ask for the code to the camera. So this right here tells me, I don't think they really wanted the truth in this case. What about y'all? What do you think?
Spoken publicly about Jessica's death.
They had to have somebody to blame. I understand that. I'll be that dude, but I'll never apologize for something I didn't do, especially to somebody that I love.
With Garland Hart cooperating and proclaiming he had nothing to do with Jessica's death, her family is stumped. They say they'll never stop searching for the truth wherever it may lead them.
I want the police to do their job. I don't think it's too much to ask.
We're not going to stop till we find out who you are.
We reached out to the Horn Lake, Mississippi Police Department for comment, but they didn't respond. Now we want to hear from you. Do you believe Jessica died by suicide? Let us know at truecrimenews.com.
Okay. Let me get back to this, and let me turn off this music because it is driving me insane. All right. So let me go to what you are saying. Mythical says, I smell a stinky fish. Yeah. This is interesting. Woman says, I saw a cop having an affair and the girl got pregnant and he staged her crime scene, so she was hanging from her passenger side door. Another place that a woman is not going to hang themselves. Oh my God. Was he ever caught? I guess he was, since they said he staged it. Oh my God. Mythical says, I know nothing about this case. I hope they are investigating. Well, not enough. Okay, that's why I'm bringing this up. This is an old cold case. I think, what did they say, 2017, or am I confusing that with another one? Hi, Nancy Drew. Good to see you. Yeah, I had never heard, what's strange is I had never heard about this case either, y'all. And I don't even know how I found it. It kind of just popped up in something, and I was like, what? Something about woman headline or something, woman hangs herself on mailbox. And I'm like, what? This is insanity. This is what I think. Yes, this is what I think is very likely, as far as I know. But like I said, just like Delphi and some of the other cases, you don't know all the nuances until you really take a deep dive. My first thought, though, about this is, yeah, that she overdosed and they got scared and they staged her body. Hello, Dawn. Good morning. I wonder if her hyoid was crushed. If y'all don't know, the hyoid bone is right here. Yes, and that would definitely, well, to me, that would show two things. That would show both that she died by asphyxiation or crushing. How to say this on YouTube. But it would not have been from the mailbox. Okay, so it's interesting to know if her hyoid bone was crushed, then somebody did it prior to the staging. If it was not crushed, then yes, I would think much more of maybe an overdose. Let me keep going. I agree, Hiawatha. How did they rule this as an unaliving of self? I mean, like, you know, here's the thing. If it's a complicated case, we're not talking about a house like, a case like, you know, Dr. House. It's got really kind of nuances like a medical case. We're not talking about that. We're talking about regular deaths, okay? I don't understand how someone trained to take care of these matters, such as the police, you know, you don't have to have a master's degree. You don't have to be a forensic scientist to understand basic things. And the basic thing here is that women don't unalive themselves on mailboxes by a shoestring. Like, it's ludicrous. So how do you, as a self-respecting law enforcement officer, you know, say, oh, this was self-induced? Hello? Was mulling around. Yeah, he probably was on this case too. Absolutely. Oh my God. Hello, Electric Werecat. Good to see you. Love that name. Let me keep going because I'm so far behind in chat. Okay, so let me show you. Let me see what this is. I've got several things, and there is honestly a Facebook group. I think this is another. Oh my goodness, I think this is another video. Yeah. So I'm going to have to put the music back on. Like I said, it drives me insane. Let's go back to that. And then, this is something, in my opinion, that is worth talking about. It is worth diving back into because, you think about Delphi, and I know a lot of you are Delphi people, as I am. There is a lot to this case. Delphi happened in 2017. And at least people have been on that, okay? This is something that, here's my thing. If you are going to say so wrongly, if you are going to take this, this was self-induced, then my question is, Horn Lake, Mississippi, what else are you covering up? What else is going on that you are trying to keep under wraps? And why? Okay, so let me just go back to thinking. Okay, let's think out loud a little bit. If you're law enforcement and you have like really no strings to this case or to the people that are involved, and you're just looking at it, like, you've got to logically think, understand, okay? And maybe if you don't have any medical knowledge, maybe you initially think she did this to herself, but then you look at, the evidence, and you look at the probability and the physical, way that things don't make sense. Wouldn't you, if you were a proper law enforcement, wouldn't you just say, hey, this is not right. We need to investigate because this looks staged. So why didn't they? Okay, that's my question. If you are an honest person, you're going to be saying, hey, this doesn't look right. This needs investigation. This is all kind of shady. But that's not what they're doing. So if they are trying to keep the truth and evidence is lost, clothes burned, whatever, then why? What is it about Jessica Johnson's death that makes you nervous? That's my question. Why were you nervous? Why did that evidence need to go? Why are you covering this up? It has to do with somebody that you know is involved or you think is involved. And for some reason, you don't want them to come to justice. Why would that be? Okay? These are the kind of things that I look at when I'm looking at cases that I feel like need to be brought to the forefront. Is why? There's tons of channels that do just recaps of crime stories, and people love them. And you see the whole thing, including the person, the perpetrator, and their sentencing and all that. I am not really so much interested in those cases. I watch some of them if it's a very interesting case. But I'm not concerned about those kind. What I'm concerned about are the cases that get swept under the rug because somebody doesn't want the truth to come out. All right? Hiawatha. Biker gang. Pang of Ellie, Emmy. Here we go again. Carroll County 2.0. Oh my gosh. I will tell you this. I don't know if could be any case that could top Delphi. The only one that equals it is Boys on the Tracks. And maybe that does top Delphi for the lunacy. But anyway, let's watch this. This is what okay, so the family, now understand, the family does not have a lot of money. I get it. Getting, another test, a forensic expert, all this kind of stuff, it's expensive. But eventually that's what happens because the family is out here knowing that Jessica did not do this to herself, by herself. So they end up hiring, let me see.
If you need to sell your house
Oh my gosh.
there's no one better to call than
Don't you love ads?
WeBuyHouses.com. Locally
I
owned
hope this
and
is a
operated
short
by
one.
the Reedy family with over 40 years of experience buying homes in the Mid-South. Get the best offer up front, as is. No repairs, no banks, no hassle. Get your cash quote within 48 hours. Why go to WeBuyHouses.com?
I'm so sorry, y'all.
Because we know how to do this right. Before you sell your home, make sure you...
No, wait. Hold on.
New developments tonight in a Mid-South death investigation now getting national attention. The body of a Mid-South mom discovered hanging by shoestrings from a mailbox.
Police say the evidence points to suicide, but a forensic expert hired by the woman's family says that the scene was staged. If Jessica Johnson didn't take her own life, who did?
WMC Action News 5 investigator Felicia Bolton now has new details, and we warn you some of the images here are graphic.
It's been hard.
Linda Johnson's memories of her daughter, Jessica Renee Johnson, are preserved in family photo albums.
She loved to dance.
Photos she's holding on to more tightly now, since her daughter died in early June.
There's just a hole in my heart from my daughter's, loss. But like I said, she could bring sunshine and light to anyone's life.
According to Horn Lake Police, a mail carrier discovered Jessica's body tied to a mailbox in the 7500 block of Angel Drive on June 2nd. The DeSoto County coroner determined the cause of death was asphyxiation due to ligature hanging. A preliminary investigation points to suicide.
No.
Something her mother simply does not believe.
There's no way that I could believe my daughter took her own life. She loved her children too much. She loved her father and I. Jessie was she was a family girl.
Linda Johnson's doubts come from how Jessica's body was discovered and who she was with the night before. We must warn you, the picture we're about to show you is graphic. But her parents asked us to show you this photo to explain why they believe their daughter was murdered.
This photo, taken by a mail carrier who discovered Jessica's body, shows the mother of two on her knees in an overgrown lawn, her head resting against a post, two shoelaces tied end to end and wrapped around her neck, attached to a mailbox. Her purse is between her legs. Police say they later discovered a pair of shoes without laces at the home.
Okay, so they discovered the shoes at the home. And my understanding, I could be wrong here, but my understanding is that she was at someone else's house. But again, did you notice how much of an indentation, what is the right word here? There was in the neck. Now, there's some, but in order to put that much pressure, it would be going way, way into the neck. That's just my opinion.
This is a display. My daughter's set up on display. And I know my daughter's too vain. She would never do something like that. Now, I have to be honest with you, my daughter can't barely tie her shoes. She did not. She wore all these high heels. There's no way. There's no way. And then she would never have gone out that way.
Linda Johnson says Jessica, who struggled with drug addiction, went to the house on Angel Drive to see her off and on boyfriend, a relationship the mom called toxic.
She told me, Mama, if anything happens to me, go find him. I'm not gonna mention his name, but go find him.
Bingo. Okay? When somebody tells you, if something happens to me, look at this person, you better be looking at that person. I'm not saying they didn't, because obviously he was a person of interest. However, he was never charged. So she's at someone else's house. She takes her shoelaces off and goes and does this on the mailbox. Come on. How dumb do you think people are?
Like police say, they've interviewed the man Jessica was dating and are investigating all angles.
I looked at the crime scene.
The Johnsons have hired their own forensic scientist, Dr. Maurice Godwin, an 18-year veteran of high-profile murder investigations, including the Casey Anthony case in Florida.
To me, this is a staged crime scene, and one thing you have to take into account here is it's just within walking distance of where she was visiting with her boyfriend. It's not like she went out drove in the middle of woods or somewhere else and did this. One of the first things is the neatness of the knot tied at the end of the shoestring. It's almost at the end of both ends of the shoestring, and the knot is tied very neat at the end. So when she sits down to do this, how does she know how much slack that she's going to need in the string, too much or not enough and everything for that to work, and then tie that from a set position.
If Jessica did not take her own life, who did and why? Up next, and for the first time, hear from one of the men who was with her the night before she died.
Whatever happened to her, it didn't happen here.
Exactly.
This is
Second.
Rhonda.
Hold
She
on.
loved watching Action News 5. Then this happened.
Sorry. Okay. So, what do you think so far? What do you think? Let me go back to your comments. Woman, he guilty. Let me back up. I need longer arms, y'all. Could somebody send me longer arms for Christmas? To reach everything. All right. Hey, Pam. Good to see you. All right. So let me go to... Oh, I'm not there. No. Let's stop you for one thing. All right. Let me go to the news report, okay? Let me see how... let me see how y'all are seeing this. Okay. Let me see if I can make this bigger. See, these are all things that I do prior to coming live when I know what I'm doing. When I realized, oh, it's time to go live and I can't put it off now. All right. So again, she was 37. Jessica Renee Johnson, 37. It says she hung there for several hours before she was found on June 2nd. The preliminary cause of death, of course, we know. Now, here are some names. Horn Lake Police Captain Nikki Lanphier, I'm pretty sure is how, said that this was the preliminary, okay? First of all, I don't know how you got that, but whatever. It says to Johnson's friends and family, it's an absurd theory, one on which valuable time is being wasted. All right? I know my daughter, and there is no way possible this is a self-induced. Now, besides the fact, and look at her. She's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely. And, look, I understand people get in situations, especially if you are using substances, you get, maybe your brain chemistry changes, you have the addiction problem. I understand you make really bad choices. However, doing this to yourself on a mailbox is not one of those choices, okay? Okay, according to Moreno, Jessica and her boyfriend had been, visiting the occupants of the home she was found in front of. It's unclear what happened between the time she arrived and the time her body was found. Okay, so she and her boyfriend were visiting the house that is behind the mailbox, and they didn't interview the people who owned the house or who were living in the house. They didn't look at the cameras. Huh. Well, isn't that odd? Why would you not? Why would that not be the first thing that you do? Especially knowing there is a camera there. Well, that would 100% tell you whether she did this to herself or not, wouldn't it? Of course it would. And this is the mailbox, which we've seen a lot of stuff. Okay, and then, they hired Dr. Maurice Godwin, a criminal investigative psychologist, to look at the case. Now, I think he has a few more credentials than the local police. All right. This mailbox was only 38 inches. That's not very tall, y'all. So that's why they would have to position her sitting down. So, again, if you're going to do this, you're not going to sit down and do it and pull. You would have to pull. Like, where's the logic? Where is the logic? There's none. He said the position of the purse between her knees appears to have been staged, and he suspects the shoestring was not tied before it was placed around the post and her neck, which we heard him say because of the distance, y'all, because of the distance. And the way that it was tied so meticulously. Okay, so I guess it was a regular knot, but yeah, I see what he's saying. To get it exactly at the ends, and you're sitting there and you're having to pull, you can't, because if you tie that knot and you get it even a quarter of an inch wrong, you're not going to asphyxiate yourself. Okay? It is it's crazy. Okay. Moreno says she's troubled not only by the crime scene, but also by the injuries observed while preparing Jessica's body for the funeral. There is what appears to be a footprint indented in her arm. Okay. There are also marks on her wrists and arms. It looks like she might have been bound and possibly injected with something. So, maybe it wasn't that she just took too much and passed away. If her wrists... Okay, because I'm learning about this too. If there were marks on her wrists and arms, yeah. And when they say it looks like she might have been bound and possibly injected, well, the injection you can't say 100%, because if she was using in that way, that could have been consensual or done herself. But the fact that there are marks on her wrists and arms, that is a problem, because that would suggest, if you had an injection mark, that it could have been. Okay, her mom says it's easier for them to write her off as a self-unaliving than, to go after this crowd. Well, what happened to justice? What happened to truth? I mean, do we just not consider that now? Is that just is it just convenience? Is that what we're looking at? According to her mom, a new lock code was enabled prior to Jessica's death, and no one has been able to, this is talking about her phone, no one has been able to access the contents of the device. Well, okay, this was in the beginning. Let's look. Let me go back and look and see when this article was done, because this is early in, sorry, y'all. Oh, wait a second. Well, this says it was updated through 2023, but it did not happen in 2023. It was quite a few years before that. So I have not seen, I have no idea what that's a picture of, and I don't even want to, y'all ever just come on stuff and you're like, what? I don't know what that is. In advertising. Okay. Now, Linda Johnson is her mom. She also claims she's been in contact with the family of another Horn Lake woman who died under suspicious circumstances last year. That woman was also known to hang out with Jessica's boyfriend, Linda said. Well, that's odd. Really, 2 people pass away that you were in some kind of relationship with or some kind of hanging out, whatever, friends with, acquaintances. 2 people. I'm going to tell y'all something. I have a lot of friends. Well, not close friends, but I have a lot of friends and tons of acquaintances. Tons. And you know what's really strange? Not one of them has unalived themselves. Not one. But 2 of this guy's acquaintances, relationships, whatever, have been found unalived. What are the odds? Okay, authorities have not indicated that Jessica's death is connected to any other deaths, and her boyfriend has not been called a suspect or person of interest. What? In either case, I thought he was. In the last news report, it said that Garland Hart is his name, and I did see another interview with him in it. According to authorities in Tennessee, there is an active warrant for his arrest in that state in an unrelated domestic violence case. How odd. All these people. Okay, so really what they are looking for is help. Okay? Help. Trying to get somebody to come forward, something. And they're talking about Jessica's 2 children. She has a 19-year-old and an 8-year-old. And I don't know what year this was originally done in. Hold on, let me go back to what you are saying. When is the most recent update? That's what I'm looking for. Like, I just came across this last night, and I was looking at some things, and I will show you where we can go. Yes, this is getting deeper. Absolutely. Absolutely. And now this guy, he's, apparently, which I know some people by that last name. I'm like, I wonder if he's related. I mean, this guy is in Mississippi. He's in Tennessee. He's in all of these relationships that have elements of domestic violence, unalivings, people dropping like flies. I don't know. But I will show you this. Let's go. Did I get to the right place? Yeah. Why is this not? This is on Facebook, okay? Let me see if I can, let me make this better for y'all. We're going to look at some Facebook. The Facebook group. Make this bigger. Okay. Okay, so there is a Facebook group, and you have to, here, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy and paste this and put this in the chat, okay? Because I had a hard time. I found this Facebook group, and I wanted to join it under Silky Southern, and I couldn't because I couldn't find it. Let me see. Did that paste here? Why? Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so this Facebook group is called Justice for Jessica, but if you just put in Justice for Jessica, you're going to find all kind of people. So there's the link in the chat for this specific one. All right. And I have not even looked at it a whole lot. I only went a few times. I mean, yeah, just like down a few posts. But there is... Matt Bing says, somebody please tell me there's some progress in this case. This is what I was reading this morning. Make sure you can see this. Okay. And the comments to this are, there is no progress. The Horn Lake PD and coroner's office have hidden everything, and the physical evidence has mysteriously disappeared. Delphi people, you know. They have never had any intentions of figuring this out, probably because they know exactly what happened, which is what I feel like in Delphi as well. Cindy Williams Holland says, I wonder if you could contact one of the podcasts or, well, you know what? I didn't even see that. I wish I was bigger. I'm going to try to help. I don't know, you know. So please, y'all, share. But yeah, they are, I'm just scrolling through here with y'all, looking at some stuff. That's her as a little girl. Let's see. But yeah, this is where I'm starting. Are y'all interested in this case? Because I really am. There are so many good cases out there, but this one is... Okay, this goes back to 2019. Let's see, when is this? Yeah, 2019. It was somewhere around there, I want to tell you it was 2017, just like Delphi. But when you look through the stuff, okay, and you're looking through just the heartbreaking stuff of her children, her family, and people who cannot seem to catch a break in this case, that just from the outside, okay? Just from the outside, me looking at it, it's insanity. It's insanity. And they, kind of like we do with everything else, you have to bring it out into the public. You have to, you know, get attention for this. And then, you know, sometimes you get misplaced justice just to close a case. But yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be bringing you some more stuff on her. I'm sorry, Sachi, you're going to have to get down. But I feel like maybe Reddit, maybe Web Sleuths, maybe, you know, all over the internet. Tell me what you find on Jessica Johnson. If you're interested, I hope you are. I feel for this family, because not only did she have injustice, no matter what her lifestyle was, no matter what her relationship status was, her family. And there's a lot of families out there. I get it. There's a lot of families out there that have been suffering injustice in different things, but in different cases. But this one is irritating to me because it seems to be ongoing, okay? We have the boyfriend who has another death close to him, another charge of domestic violence. Now, I'm not saying it is him. Does he know what happened? Most likely, yeah. If she was with him, how do you just go out? Look, and my question is this: if they know this about Garland Hart, then why didn't the police put some pressure on him? What is it about this case? Are they just that lazy? I mean, honestly, some people are. And that's not just in law enforcement, but in any job that they have. I get very upset over lazy people who won't do their job. But is it just laziness, or is there something else going on? Thank you, Linda Kay. Thank you so much. Good morning. But yeah, this case, it bothers me because she's got children. She's got sisters. She's got a mom, like a lot of cases do. But what is going to happen? What kind of culture are they setting up for Horn Lake, Mississippi, to have a horrific crime like this, and for them to blatantly say, oh, she did it herself. No, she didn't. These are the things that bother me. These are the things that I want to know more. I want to know the rest of the story. Okay? I want to know what ties this guy has. I want to know why you haven't really been, putting pressure on him. I want to know why you didn't interview the people in the house. I want to know why you didn't look at the camera. And this is just scratching the surface, y'all. Again, we're looking at a pattern of if somebody doesn't call out, look, I got some wild hair going on. If somebody doesn't call out this injustice, then what? It just sets us up. It sets us up for a pattern of, oh, okay, well, we don't have to hold law enforcement accountable. We don't have to, people can just do what they want. Are you scared? I mean, sometimes I wonder if law enforcement is scared. You know that it has something to do with trafficking. You know it has something to do with very violent people, and you're just like, well, she did this herself. Is that why? But then who are you serving and protecting? Because it's not us. It's not us. It's the culture of crime. And there is another, oh my God, there is a horrific one. I believe it's Mississippi also. Another justice case that I really want to talk about. Not just this one. The other one is mind-blowing. Like, what in the heck? It's either in Mississippi or Texas. Like I said, I've got several cases, but this one is very interesting. So let me know if you are interested. Again, this is just something, if you want something done, you have to have people listen, because just like there's not one person in my chat so far who has ever heard of this case, and I just lived a state over in Alabama. I never heard of this case. How did I not hear this? I mean, this is craziness. But I never heard it. I never knew that something like this had occurred in the South. I mean, not that we don't have crime. We got plenty of it. I'm just saying, sometimes to make a change, you have to yell loud. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yes, I agree, Pam. It doesn't matter how old this case is. Justice needs to be covered and brought to light. Absolutely. Absolutely. Craziness. Absolute craziness. So I'm going to be diving into this one some. Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know if you see anything. I am going to also be looking at, and here's why. Let me just say this. Here is why I haven't covered Delphi every day. All right? I've told you before, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I want to talk about Flora. I want to talk about some other things that people have sent me in Indiana. We're going to talk about the Indiana fires. But I'm going to have to sprinkle it in with everything else, if you understand what I mean. You know, it's going to be in a series of other things as well. I wonder if the family has informed the feds about this case. I don't know. So these are all questions. Y'all know when we start digging into something, there's a whole lot that you have to go search for. And honestly, I was going to talk about another case in the one I was just referring to that is so horrific and egregious. And it's like, how do you get this ruling of death from this situation? Okay. But as I was looking up, that's how I found this. I was looking up stuff and I saw this sidebar on Jessica Johnson and I was just flabbergasted. Like, how do you try to sell this? Like, you couldn't sell this story. Stephen King couldn't sell this story as being true. Okay. So, come on. Anyway, yeah, we're going to be looking more into that, more into some others, more into Delphi. But I feel like some people are kind of getting burned out. I'm not saying that I'm giving up, that there's not stuff to cover and there's not stuff to fight for. There absolutely is, and I will hopefully, I'm not going to promise, I'll hopefully do another live this week, specifically on Delphi and Flora, but also, I'm sorry, the cat. I was distracted for a second. Yeah, I want to talk about some of your comments on Delphi that you've put in my chat. Linda Kay says, Silky, I reckon Robert Ives was covering up poor local LE investigations. I think Robert Ives is scared. That's what I think. Again, I've watched that interview, the one infamous interview of him that we all refer to. I watched it again very recently, and I'm like, I'm rolling my eyes. Just rolling my eyes. But yeah, we're going to talk about some other things. We'll talk about Delphi. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I hope to go live with you. I'd like to go live 3 or 4 times a week. I've been doing, like, it's the end of the year, and I really should be on the phone to an electrician because I have a major problem instead of being live right now. But you know how you gotta use up your insurance benefits? Like, I gotta do maintenance. So that's what I was doing all last week when I thought I was going live. It's like, oh, I've got this appointment. I'm fine, y'all. It's just like, it's the maintenance. Woman, yeah. He makes you so mad. Yeah, it does me. Well, he makes me mad. I'm not going to say he doesn't. He makes me roll my eyes. He makes me mad on one hand. And on the other hand, I think he probably doesn't want to go in the direction of Judge Mothmer, So, there you go. He initially sealed Flora and Delphi docks. Again, probably because he is, it's just like this case, like the Jessica Johnson case. I firmly believe that they know who did it. I do. And I also firmly believe that Robert Ives, if he doesn't know exactly, he knows pretty much who did it. And he's absolutely, like, getting out of Dodge. All right, so I think I am probably going to end here, maybe. We always go back to Delphi, don't we? We always do. I know, it's always on my mind. I'll just be honest with you. No matter what case I cover, it always goes back to Delphi. I noticed he was side-eyeing Shane Evans at the first presser. Yeah, and by the way, I've seen some great videos come from TCD, True Crime Design, if you're not familiar. Anyway, But by far, Delphi is not the only. It is the one closest to me. Look, y'all, if I were to give as much passion to another crime, it would be Boys on the Tracks. But I know that no matter how many hundreds of hours I spent talking about it and bringing it to people's attention, it will never be prosecuted. And that is heartbreaking for me, and that is why Delphi is so close in nature to it. That is why I can't give up, because I still feel like Delphi could be broken. And so could this case of Jessica Johnson, because I just don't think that there are enough people looking at it. Now, True Crime News did the special on it, but it's like, I appreciate really, the big investigators, because they are able to go out there and get footage and get all this stuff for us to watch. But you know what happens is most people watch a crime story. Okay, you're sitting in your Barca lounger, or you're sitting on the couch. You got a blanket, you got a bowl of popcorn, you got whatever you're snacking on, and you are watching something that interests you, which is true crime, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the majority of the people who watch cases like this, are just like, well, isn't that something? That's just horrible. Can you imagine? There's no way she did that. There's no way she unalived herself. And that's as far as it goes. Because what most people don't do, because then, as soon as they're done with that, they may think about it for a little while. They may Google it and read a few articles on it. And then, guess what? The next episode comes on of True Crime News or something else, whatever else they watch on TV. And they're off to the races on that one. And they're just, watching and saying, hey, wow, this is an interesting story. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I do that too. There's a lot of stuff I watch. But the problem is you get big stations to cover stuff, but there's no follow-up, okay? There's no real pressure, because who's going to care? Yeah, they do this story, and it's like, yeah, that's not good. I hope this goes away. And the point is it does. It does go away. I mean, think about Delphi. If people had not been pressuring and really talking about this, so many creators out there, it never would have gotten to where it was. And so this is why I feel like some of these cases, like, we need to talk. Because right now it looks like there's a small group of people and the family who are, running this Facebook page and saying, yeah, we want justice. But it takes more. It takes more people. It takes more attention. It takes more people saying, hey, explain this to me. Explain this to me, how you came to this conclusion, sir, because this is ludicrous. And, so that's sorry, I'm reading your comments. Yeah, you're right. Boys on the Tracks will never be solved. It's because it is solved. It is solved. But it's not prosecuted, and it never will be. Oh, now I can't get down to I'm sorry, my scroller isn't scrolling. Oh my goodness, I can't even see your comments anymore. I scrolled up, and now I can't scroll back down. Oh, wait. There we go. Linda K., you don't think Delphi will be solved either? It's like Boys on the Tracks, fruit of the poisonous tree, and unaliving of all witnesses. Well, that's why I did those videos about it. And I really looked, I went back and I looked at them. I'm like, oh my God, the editing is so bad. It's so bad. But, I was learning. I really want to go back and re-edit those videos just because it's such a good story. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to end here because I do have to work today and I do have to call an electrician. Yay, me. We'll talk later. Depends on when I can get an electrician out, because if electrician is here, I can't go live because, probably it will end in disaster. But I will be live again sometime this week. I hope you all are having a great holiday season. And I hope you're enjoying, everything. I'm enjoying the warmer weather today. Today and tomorrow is going to be warmer because, let me tell you something, it has been so cold here. It's been February cold. February is the month of all months that I hate the most, because February cold in Alabama is, we just want to die. Like, it's so cold and it's so awful that we all just want to die. And if you are in Alabama and you're one of these rare people that say, oh, I just love the cold weather, I love the snow, well, go live in Maine or somewhere, okay? Because if you're in Alabama, you need to be like the rest of us, really miserable and complaining and whining about it. Thank you, Pam. That's so sweet. That is so sweet. Thank you much. Linda Kay, it's the middle of your summer. Oh my gosh. All right. But I will be coming back later this week for y'all Delphi people. Yeah, we're going to talk Delphi. We're going to I'm going to be looking more into the Jessica Johnson thing because I think this can be solved. I think it absolutely can be solved easily. I just think that the police have to have a reason, a motive to do their job. Hopefully it's not a big mess, but like Delphi. Anyway, hope you all have a great rest of the day. I will see you later, and I will be looking at the stuff that you sent me on Jay-Z. We'll probably talk about that too. Like, it's craziness, right? All right, I'll see you later. Love you all so much. Have a great holiday season. All right, bye-bye.